Welcome back from the ad break. You are still watching Prime Life now. Let's welcome Jane Egerton-Idehen, a highly accomplished and experienced executive whose expertise spans the telecommunications, technology, and satellite industries. Now, with a wealth of experience and leadership roles at companies like Meta, Avon Communications, Ericsson, and Nokia Siemens Network, Jane has earned her spot amongst Nigeria's top corporate leaders. Let's give a warm welcome to Jane. Jane, thank you so much for joining us on Prime Live and welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on Prime Live.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, firstly, congratulations on, being recognized as one of the top 100 leading telecom and digital economy personalities in Nigeria. How does it feel to receive such a prestigious honor?
I think it's an honor. I really feel honored and humbled because when I started my journey, I wasn't expecting this. Neither was I doing it because I was expecting the accolades. So it's a bit of a surprise, but I really feel humbled and honored. But I think more importantly, I feel the weight of ensuring that I stay focused because it just tells you the ability to impact more people if you continue on the right path. So that's how I feel.
That's very impressive. Now, how do you see this recognition influencing your future endeavors and approach to leadership within the industry?
I was telling someone I think it was a couple of weeks ago that, when I started my career, because I was coming from very like underprivileged background,
Mm,
the ultimate goal is to just run away from poverty,
mm,
acquire as much wealth as you can to live a comfortable lifestyle.
mm,
And then the next phase of life, it wasn't just that. I wanted to do something for people behind, like the younger generation, those coming after me, people like me. And currently is more than that. I want to see how I can create impact at scale, be of service, keep the door wide open. So no, whenever I take up rooms, people like me can show up in those rooms, or people after me can show up in those rooms. And I think that's how I feel about that award is it just creates that awareness of this is what the next phase should look like. This is how it impacts my job, that I continue doing the work I'm doing because I see the results. I see the way younger girls aspire to want to do what you're doing. I see the way people from underprivileged backgrounds are intrigued and curious that it's still possible to chase after your dreams, even though you're born in circumstances that are not ideally or the best. And I also see the way that other people feel inspired as women or men with wives to run their career, live their lives of women on the continent with kids and family. So I think for me, that's really what it speaks to is the fact that once you are convinced about your vision and you keep working on it, you do have the ability to touch others and inspire others.
mm. That's beautiful. Now, it is very evident that you have achieved remarkable success in your career, spanning multiple industries. Can you tell us what initially drew you to telecommunications, technology, and satellite sectors?
So I did study engineering. So it was just, and like I always say, I took up that journey to study engineering because in hindsight, I just found out that I'm drawn to challenges.
Mm,
So I overheard, I was eavesdropping, and I heard that it's a difficult subject or it's a difficult course. People find it tough. And I was just intrigued. I'm like, yes, I want to do it. And that's how the curiosity started.
mm,
But of course, along the journey, I didn't just want to be an engineer. I wanted to live my life being an engineer. So I really wanted to do the work. I wanted to work in an engineering company. I wanted to use my skills as an engineer. So that's what started the journey into looking for a company where I can do that. Because you do have the ability to study engineering and work as something else. You could work for finance as a financial analyst. People do other things, but I really wanted to do that. And that's where telecom came in because was at the time in Nigeria where the telecom industry was opening up. So there were, industries around that, sectors around that. So we had the satellite integrators that were there. And I was told, hey, this is one of the companies. If you really want to be an engineer, you can practice your skills. And that's how I found myself in the satellite industry and then in the telco industry. Because it's just my desire to want to use what I've learned or the skills I've acquired to deliver service.
Mm. And given your vast experience, leading multinational organizations, what strategies do you believe are key to maintaining a competitive edge in the rapidly evolving telecommunications and satellites industries?
Of course, there are many, but I'm going to speak to one that I have a personal interest in because I have worked for multinationals
Mm,
that have come to the African market and sometimes they have struggled. And I have learned one of the key ingredients to success
mm,
is understanding your market and adapting your solutions or creating solutions for that market. So earlier on, when we started in the telecom industry, we will get solutions from like the West, Europe, the US, solutions that have really thrived, and we will bring it into the African market and we will struggle. We will bring it into the Nigerian market, we will struggle because we did not try to understand the market, the people, like what do they want? What kind of problems? What are their daily lives, like what kind of problems are they solving? A good example in the early days in the Nigerian market, we were pushing for voicemail, and we found out people don't like talking to machines, at least not Nigerians or Nigerians in the way they use the service tend to talk a lot more than average because it seemed to be rude to just cut to the chase on a call. People want to say hi, how are you doing? How are your kids? They really want to go through those niceties before they talk on the phone. So it's when we realize that this is really our market and this is how they want to use the service, we became more aware and we started adapting our solutions and creating solutions for the market. Now, I think for me, that's a key criteria, especially for multinationals when they come to market, when they go to other markets or they move to other countries. It is so important to understand the context of the market. What are they trying to solve for? Then adapt your technology or your solution to solve for that, as opposed to taking a white or black box and trying to impose it on the market. Then you'll find out that it doesn't work. And a good sector that has done it very well is the FMCG. So when they came, they found out that because of the disposable income, maybe not as high as in countries with very high GDP, people were reluctant to do mass purchase. But if you could package it in small offers they could afford, they will. And even their disposable income will not be a limitation. And we took that concept and we adapted it for the telcos. So when we started initially, we were looking at selling, the recharge cards, you want to sell them at high volumes
mm,
because in other places, that's how they are sold. We found that people don't like that. People want to buy an average recharge card maybe for $1 just to make a call for the day and they'll be fine. They
mm,
don't want to be sold a package for the whole month for
mm,
like $100. They can't afford that, you know, at that instant. And that's because of the way people live. People live on a day to day, at least those below the middle class. So yes, it was an interesting thing. Or, the issue about postpaid and prepaid. In a country like Nigeria, we came in thinking, oh, maybe the average carrier person will use a postpaid service. And we found out that no, they don't like that. They want to use a prepaid service. They are more comfortable paying for the service as they use it. They don't want to feel like they're owing. And I think it's a cultural thing. There's maybe the challenge with the trust of trusting organizations they don't know. So I think it's really understanding your market and trying to adapt those solutions or creating solutions that are unique for your market.
mm. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, as the CEO of NIG Comsat, you've been driving the growth and diversification of Nigeria's space program. Can you share with us some of your current priorities and future aspirations for the agency, both locally and internationally?
Thank you for that question. I'm excited to share. So we do have three key things we're working on currently, and I'll start from the most important for us is to have a continuous technology. So a technology that evolves with the market trends, with evolving technology, and we're able to present that to the market or the countries where we exist. And for us, a key one is, for example, upgrading our current asset. Our current satellite, we are on plans to upgrade it. In the next 2 years, we should be replacing our current asset. The second thing for me that is a key priority is making sure that our infrastructure is reliable. For the clients we serve, we want to make sure that clients are happy to choose us as their preferred satellite provider. And that means making sure that whatever infrastructure we are riding on or we're using on, they're reliable, so we can pass on that value to our end consumers or to our clients. And lastly, is service delivery, because service is now important in our business. How do we serve our customers? How do we create value? Because it's not just selling technology as a black box, it's understanding how our clients or end users use our service and how do we ensure we can pass on those gains to them. So in terms of the service quality is important. People want to know that their service provider is there to clarify, there to support, there to, on that whole journey as they are enabling their businesses using technology, you'll be there all the step. So those three things for me are priority, and we are doing that in different ways. In the way we are restructuring our organization, retooling our staff, reskilling our staff is important. Even in the way we are packaging our products and delivering our products, it is influencing how we do that, because that understanding of that we want to give our clients top service quality. We want to be that preferred satellite provider is really guiding us to ensure that our products, our solution, our people, our culture are all aligned to that.
That's very impressive. And, how do you approach challenges in markets where, traditional models may not be as effective? Do you use technologies like AI a lot, to change the landscapes of these industries?
So, very good question, because look at the quick trends.
Mm,
Technologies would always enable us, and in our business, which is really technology, being a satellite operator, technology have always enabled us, but we tend to use them internally because we can use them for efficiency. They do provide efficiencies in the way we do business, in the way we operate, in how our engineers work and support our clients. But we also use them externally in the way we support clients. A great example is IoT. We use those devices when we are trying to give an end-to-end solutions to our clients, for example, in the agricultural sector, to do smart agriculture, precision agriculture, or when we want to work with clients in the health sector, they're trying to use health devices remotely to service rural areas, but connect those health devices to some kind of central base where they're getting maybe the competence or the skills to support the remote operation.
mm,
IoT starts to become important. So technology for us is really enabling that whole service quality we are talking about. We see it as an enabler. It could be for our business to be more efficient in how our engineers are managing and servicing our client, but in also how we deliver solutions to our clients in agriculture, in healthcare, in the defense sector, because we do that as well, or in providing rural solutions for other sectors as well. So I think it's an interesting time, and I'm really looking forward to all the amazing things that's going to happen as technology starts to converge. So we will get to the point where access, which is at the baseline of what we do, is almost a given. It becomes one of the, like we say that the basic needs of human beings is food, shelter. Access becomes one of it,
mm.
because to drive that digital economy, you do need access.
Mm, that's actually very true. Now, just to wrap up our conversation, looking ahead as you continue to lead NICOMSAT and engage in your many, other endeavors, what is your personal vision for the future of Nigeria's role in the global communications and digital economy landscape? Jane, can you hear me?
Hello, I'm back. I think I was frozen for a
Yeah, it was
bit.
frozen. It was frozen.
Forgive me.
Uh,
You asked the question. I think I missed it. You said as I continue to lead
yes.
NASCOMSAT, and I.
I'll repeat the question. Now, I'm saying that as you continue to lead NICOMSAT and engage in your many other, endeavors, what's your personal vision for the future of Nigeria's role in the global telecommunications and digital economy landscape?
Personally, I think I would like us to take a thought leadership role in the sector, especially on the African continent, where we represent Africa globally
Mm,
in the way we drive the technology into the next phase. And for different reasons. Nigeria has been one of the foremost country to launch a communication satellite on the African continent. We've had that going now for about 2 decades. It's interesting to note that it's mostly local competence that is managing and operating our asset. And I think there's so much value in that. We want to pass that value in helping drive the next phase of the technology and pass it to other, countries or other, collaborate with other organizations that will want to do the same. And I think it's also a great way for us to share our competence and our talent with the wider African space or the global space. So I really want us to take up that role, not just in servicing our clients, but in also ensuring that we drive the technology to the next phase, to what the next satellite could look like, to a case where we could have launch pads in the African market, where we can actually launch satellites from here, where we can build satellites, maybe not just nanosats and CubeSats, which are the smaller satellites. Maybe we can build, medium-sized satellites from here. So I'm really looking forward to that because space has always been something that is vague and complex. But we have shown as a continent that we can still do that and we can deliver. So it's important for us to move not just downstream, but to also move down the value chain upstream for the technology. That's my
mm,
vision.
mm.
Hope it wasn't a very long, but that's where I see us
No, it
going.
was actually very inspirational, and it's good to see that your vision runs that long. It just says a lot about obviously the passion that you have for the work that you do. But Jane, thank you so much for joining us and just for educating us on what you do and also just shaping Nigeria's digital landscape. It has definitely been a very impressive conversation that I just had with you. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much and have a nice day. It was nice chatting with you.
Thank you so much, YouTube viewers at home. That was Jane, who is very, very highly accomplished and experienced, and she is, an expert in several endeavors. But she leads in telecommunications, technology, and satellite industries. But without wasting any time, let's go to a quick break. We'll see you right after this.